Hey, everybody, it is Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Monday edition of Today in Sports Betting. Joined by my partner, Scott Reichel. Talk a little NBA action here, Scott, because that's what's on everybody's mind.
Yep, something like that.
We do have our premium plays available. And be totally honest, everybody, we were kind of sneaking one of the plays in when we had 8 or 16 games. We kind of sneak one and give one away for free, but when we're down to 2 games, we can't really do that.
Yeah,
So
it's really difficult. So
wouldn't be fair to the people that paid for our premium picks. So we are going to talk a little bit about the NBA now. I do have a nice first half play if you want to check out my POD. I do have a first half play from one of the games, so we can get that working. So, but as far as the NBA goes, I don't know, Scott. Do you want to talk about anything from the world of college basketball? Gonzaga looked really good. Michigan looked really good. USC looked really good. UCLA looked like they had the right opponent. I don't know. Anybody else, Scott?
I think the one takeaway was the bad free throw shooting for Bama.
Holy mackerel!
I think that's the only takeaway you can have.
11 for 24.
25.
11 for 25. Not good. Not good. Especially I was
Yeah.
on the under there. And Scott, what's your favorite saying?
There's a reason why they call it overtime.
They don't call it undertime, kids.
Yep. But
So we got a couple of pretty good matchups here in the next couple of days. Yeah, I know you and I are really looking forward to that Gonzaga USC game there on Tuesday. That sounds weird, doesn't it?
I saw an opening lineup. I saw FanDuel has Gonzaga -9. So there is a line available if you do want to bet that early. I haven't really thought about it yet. But if you do want to get some early action, you think the line's going to move one way or the other, you do have a couple of books that have already put it up.
Well, if you think it's going to move the other, then you should probably wait. If you think it's going to move one way.
No, I'm saying depending on what side you like.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so if you think the line's going to go up for Gonzaga, bet them now. If you think the line's going to go up for USC, don't bet them.
That's pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, where do you think that the public going to come down on the Zags?
I really don't know. I have to assume it has to, just because of how Gonzaga's been undefeated and how they're the best team, in my opinion, since the 38-1 Kentucky team. But I don't know, because USC also is dominant. So it really depends on how you look at this, because both these teams, we were talking about it before we went on air, it's not like they've been winning these games. They've been murdering teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these games haven't even been close with Gonzaga and USC's path. So you have to wonder, something's got to give in this one. I thought 9 was a bit surprising, but I didn't really know where it was going to be priced. I thought it'd be around 7.5, but I haven't broken down any of the games or any of the actual following round besides tomorrow's games, which I already posted for the premium service. But yeah, I'm just going to wait and see. I'll see what line movements happen, and we'll readjust accordingly.
Good enough. All right, sir. Well, in the meantime, we got a little NBA action here. A couple pretty decent games, Scott, as the New Orleans Pelicans makes their daily appearance on TV. Does it seem like they're getting a lot of TV, Scott?
Well, they have to. They won a game yet. They won a game. They're on fire.
It's the Pelicans at the Boston Celtics, a team that is dead to you and just about dead to me too. I made fun of you for having the Celtics dead to you, then promptly went out and lost on them. So who's the smart one there?
Happens.
So
I tried to warn you, man. I tried to warn you.
Boston 4-point favorite. Of course, they are. 231 is the total there, Scott. And of course, as the NBA in 2021, the first thing you do is check the injury report, find out Kemba Walker's on there. Ojale is questionable as well.
Nothing really serious as far as I know. I know Lonzo might still be out, but overall, nothing insane that you should really know about.
Yeah, it looks like Lonzo's out. He's quite questionable. Jackson Hayes, okay. Whatever.
There's 4 names you really only care about. It's Ingram, Zion, Tatum, and Brown, not in that order.
Well, I think Kemba Walker is.
Walker's been out the last couple games, though, so it's not like anything new.
I understand. Okay. All right, fine. So this is a Boston team that lost to New Orleans as 2-point road chalk back in February. They lost by 5. 120 to 115 went over the total. Neither one of those teams shot very well from distance, Scott. New Orleans shot just 30%. Boston shot 27. New Orleans shot 44 from overall is from the field, but you got to think a lot of that's Zion dunks. And Boston failed to crack 40%. So I don't know where that defense has been from New Orleans all year, but it doesn't show up very often.
Definitely not. I think it might have been a myth.
But
Or
still, they went over
Mhm.
as they combined to score 52 points from the free throw line. So congratulations, still went over the total. Anything changed in this one, Scott? Any reason not to fade these Boston Celtics?
I actually do like some of the moves. I know that Boston made some moves that people found questionable. They ended up getting Fournier, who hasn't played for them yet, but they ended up getting rid of Tice. I actually really like Robert Williams with this team. Like, I think he's actually a really good player. And I know that he has issues guarding the three-point line, and sometimes he gets into foul trouble. He's really good. And I'm not going to say that he can guard Zion, but frame-wise, they're kind of similar. Of course, Zion is a lot bigger, but Williams is a very good shot blocker. He's athletic. I actually think he can potentially guard Zion. I don't think he's going to shut him down because Zion's had at least 38 in each of his last 2 games. Zion's been an absolute lunatic. But I actually think Boston's got a shot here to cover. I definitely am not picking New Orleans to win 2 straight games. I mean, that's insane. So I think that Boston should probably get it done. I'm going to take the over though. I mean, it's New Orleans. I'm not going to suddenly forget that this team still doesn't guard anybody. I mean, you mentioned the terrible shooting numbers the first meeting. Game still went over. And you have to assume that who does New Orleans have to guard Tatum or Brown? Nobody.
Yeah, and that certainly is a problem. Now, in New Orleans' defense, they have played pretty good, defense
They
lately.
played better.
Well,
But
they've given up 113 or less in their last 5. Probably
I'm proud of
averaging
them.
around 108 points a game. That's not awful. And they have covered 6 of their last 8. You're not a Pelican believer, sir?
I actually just think that this Boston team with this new lineup with Williams at the 5 has actually looked pretty good. I know they beat Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee, of course, was back-to-back games. They ended up getting the better of Giannis in the game after and then beat Oklahoma City. I know Oklahoma City is terrible. But Boston's actually looked pretty good with this new lineup since the trade deadline. And I'm not sure if Fournier is going to play in this game. He might, which definitely would be a boost either in the starting lineup or off the bench. But I actually like this new Celtics smaller lineup because I actually thought Tice was just a bad basketball player. I know that people were trying to tell me Tice is a good defender, whatever. He can't shoot. Williams at least knows he can't shoot. Tice will chuck up 3 per game, make 1 on a good day. I don't think Tice is very good. So I actually think the Celtics got better by getting rid of him in an addition from subtraction kind of thing. I don't know if you agree with that. I'm just not a big Tice guy.
Okay. I think I'm going to go the other way, Scott. I'm going to fade you on both of those.
Okay.
Under's been trending. Under's hit 4 of the last 5 for the Pels. Boston playing a little better defense. They surely didn't play good defense against Milwaukee, but they did give up 94 to Oklahoma City, 96 to Orlando. Yeah, I'll take the Pelicans and give Boston a chance to screw me one more time. I'll take the Pelicans in the under, and you'll take the Celtics in the over.
Yeah. For me, don't get me wrong, you have a good argument with the under based on how these teams have played. I'm just still forced to look at New Orleans as a dead over team. But mainly it's looking at just for the side here. New Orleans is 6-14 on the road. Boston's 13-7 and 12-8 against the number at home. So this team, of course, is a lot better at the Garden. I'll back that. So I'll go with Boston.
The Garden.
Yep.
All right. And in our nightcap, Scott, our late game there, it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks heading out to play the LA Clippers.
It's my favorite mini game in the NBA. Guess the starting lineups for both teams.
No idea.
It's almost impossible because Milwaukee benched everybody against the Knicks yesterday. And I actually found out Diakite from Virginia is on Milwaukee. I did not know that until I saw him play yesterday.
Who knew?
I saw him, Friday. When the hell did I? Not yet. Yeah, Saturday.
Still got the frosted tips?
No, I didn't recognize him. He had a full, regular, he wasn't bleached hair anymore. He didn't have it. No, he was back to having, black hair. I was waiting to see some, a blonde, I don't want to say buzz cut, but I'm trying to think of how to describe the haircut. But you know what I'm talking about if you watch him in Virginia. And he had a fadeaway jump shot. And I did not know he had that in his game. I did not know he had that. But that's who Milwaukee was throwing out. You had Antetokounmpo, the other one. You had Sam Merrill, who was starting. You had Nwaba, who was starting. A lot of players you probably didn't even know were in the league, and they all started. Now, I'm assuming that Middleton and Holiday and Giannis should be back in the lineup for this one. But I don't know if they're going to be back in the lineup for this one.
Well, and I got an injury update on this afternoon. I got an alert that came over and said they're both questionable. Both Giannis and Middleton are questionable. That was it.
Why do I also have a feeling like Kawhi and Paul George are also questionable for this game? Why do I have that feeling?
So are we gonna punt here?
We could. Just to actually go through it quickly, I'll take the Clippers. Clippers have been rolling lately. This team's been on fire. Believe me, I know because I have the Suns to win the division. This Clippers team
up to what number, Scott?
I'll say up to 3. But overall, I like the Clippers here. I see FanDuel as the Clippers at around -1 right now. Once again, you're also playing roulette with the injury report, but
right.
The Clippers have been really good. And Milwaukee, I know this team went on a bit of a winning streak lately. You still watch them. Against good teams, they're really not that great. Against bad teams, they kill people. But the Clippers, if you just look at how they've played lately, this team is underratedly – are they the hottest team in the league?
Yeah, I think so.
It feels that way, and nobody's talked about them. So
yeah.
I'll take the Clippers.
One and covered 5 straight. Nice thing about this Clippers team, dude, when they win, they cover.
Yep.
They do not just sneak by and not take care of business. So yeah, I think it's hard to fade the Clippers in this spot. I think they're the hotter team. They might even be the better team overall. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see, Scott. Yeah, not since the 24th of January have the Clippers won and not covered the number. And they've only had 3 victories all year where they haven't covered. That's pretty impressive. Really,
so in a matchup where I don't know who's starting, I'll take the Clippers because they've just been the better team lately. But if you want to call an audible, I don't know what game you want to talk about instead.
What else gets your attention? Anything else?
All right, let's do something a little bit differently. Let's do Raptors Pistons for the
Raptors Pistons
for the fun of it. Let's do it.
There's a barn burner.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, since you dealt that one, you get to open.
All right. Well, for this one, you have an opening line for a spread and a total, which is why I picked it, because you actually have something for both.
Woohoo!
You have the Raptors -4.5, and you also have the over or under 219. Toronto played yesterday. It was a pretty big track. It was a track meet game against Portland. They lost. Shocker, Toronto lost again. Who would have thought? They lose to everyone not named Denver. But looking at this matchup here, I don't know if you think fatigue's going to play a factor. I don't know if you think that Detroit's going to get the better of this team. Detroit's terrible. I mean, I'd have to lean Toronto, but I mean, this Toronto team is just terrible. This team's so bad.
Well, you said Detroit the first time, but you weren't.
No,
wrong.
I'm saying both these teams are bad, but I'm going to have to lay with Toronto because I actually think Toronto has some resemblance of a basketball team.
So Toronto has lost 11 of 12.
Who'd they beat the one time, though?
Yeah.
Denver.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Whomped them.
Yep.
And and they've lost 11 to 12 while Detroit has been on fire. They've only lost 8 of 10.
Yep.
So, but they do occasionally cover. In those 10 games, they've covered the line 6 times, bud. 6 times.
Assuming that means you're going Detroit.
How many points did you say I'm getting here?
Detroit's getting 4.5.
Boy, that doesn't sound like enough.
I know it doesn't. That's the problem. You think it's enough, and then you see Detroit's roster and go, I probably need 6. Like, probably.
That's the number I had in my head. I'm so happy you picked this game.
I get if you're being sarcastic or not.
No. Yeah, I'll take the team at home, not on a back-to-back.
Fair enough.
Give me Detroit. And yeah, like I said, at least Detroit covered. They've covered 6 of their last 10, even though they've lost. So
I'm going to go with Toronto just because why not?
Okay.
That's how I'm viewing it. As for the total, I'll lean under. Toronto, I know, has started to go smaller with Siakam at center, but it really hasn't worked like at all. They don't really win games. And I feel like on a back-to-back, I just don't really think it's going to work because Detroit still has Mason Plumlee at center, who is just an early 2000 center that's trapped in the starting lineup because he has no range, can't shoot free throws, and he has no post moves at all. But he starts and he plays about 30 minutes a game. So I think that spacing will be a problem for Detroit. I actually think that Toronto going small could be beneficial to them. because Plumlee's going to have to guard on the perimeter, and I don't think he can do that. So I like Toronto. I'll lean under. I expect some tired legs, and Detroit's offense is awful. So that's kind of my thoughts on that one.
I gotta go. What's the total here?
219.
I gotta go over.
Fair enough.
This Toronto defense has been dreadful lately.
It's very bad.
They've given up 111 or more in 11 of their last 12.
Yep.
The only exception being inexplicably against Phoenix. So,
do I have any interest in actually playing any part of this game? Absolutely not. I just thought it was a fun game to bring up.
Wouldn't think so. I thought about making a bet, and then I just decided to go to a meeting because they have coffee there. So,
They might have donuts if you go there on Tuesdays.
That's very true. I will proudly fade you, sir. I'm going to take the Detroit Pistons and the over.
Sounds like we're disagreeing on everything, and that's okay because nobody cares about the NBA today. Like nobody cares at all. But that's the thing, though, is that it's still funny to me how the professionals take a back seat to the amateurs for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that happens, it's like, all right, great.
And I have to be honest with you, I like to watch the NBA kind of shake itself out after the trade deadline. I like to see what these guys look like on their new teams. I want to see how they fit in. So I, generally speaking, tread lightly this time of year anyway.
That's fair.
So, just saying.
For the record, by the way, even though the UCLA game went to overtime, the best game of the day was La Tech and Colorado State. I mean, let's be real.
Big comeback by La Tech, right?
They won. Lofton had the game-winning layup with like 0.2 left. That was a great game. You know, college seems to deliver. As I know the tournament has had – I don't want to say that this past weekend didn't have many great games. Of course, the Bama and UCLA game went to overtime, so that was entertaining. Kind of a disappointing weekend in terms of competitive games.
You know what? You know what changed that? It would change that, Scott, if that three-pointer for Oral Roberts would have gone into the buzzer.
Correct. You had the Oral Roberts game, which was very close, and you had the UCLA game, which was very close. Everything else, not really. I mean, you can argue the Oregon State game, even though they were up basically 6 for most of the, second half, pretty much. The Michigan game was a blowout. Gonzaga was a blowout. You go down the line, USC game was a destruction from start to finish.
Yep.
Baylor was interesting because the game wasn't close. It went from Villanova killing them to Baylor killing them, and there's really no middle ground.
I talked about that on one of my videos. It took 9 minutes to go from 7 down to 7 up for Baylor.
Yeah, it was just one-way traffic both ways, and it was just I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people, even though, of course, the cards were entertaining because people love watching college basketball, really not that many close games.
No.
I hope that turns around tomorrow, but we'll see.
Saving it all for these last 7 games, Scott.
Something like that.
All right, buddy.
3 Pac-12 teams. Who would have thought?
Nobody. Absolutely.
Besides
nobody.
Bill Walton.
Nobody would have thought that.
Bill Walton had all of the Pac-12 teams in the Elite Eight, which is physically impossible. But he had them.
Good job, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my friend. Well, that's going to do it for the Monday edition of Today in Sports Betting. As always, don't forget to stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. You can still get our premium plays over there for the Elite Eight, for the finals of the regional finals, as well as the Final Four. So it's never too late to get over there and check that out.
Baseball in a few days.
Baseball on Thursday. Drafted my fantasy team today, Scott. I'm pretty happy about it. I told you that. I got Sixto and Ian Anderson.
You definitely only took Sixto on my behalf, whether or not you acknowledge it or not. I think that a part of it was like subconsciously thinking like a voice in your head of me. You got to get Sixto. This guy's the best. And you're just like, I got to do it.
Well, I do like Sixto, but I'm not going to lie to you. There was a small part of me that goes, I'm going to take Sixto just so I can text him and tell him that I got Sixto.
Oh, it's really a good deal because if Sixto is terrible, you can just keep a running joke and just keep telling me how bad he is.
Yeah, I did not take his flyer on Kikuchi, however.
That's your flyer. That's your favorite. That's your favorite guy.
The Cooch went undrafted, I believe.
He's a waiver wire sleeper if you need a starter on Sundays.
Watch him start 7-0, give up 4 earned runs in his first 5 starts or something.
I'll start 4-3 with an ERA of 3 because Seattle can't score, and you'll just find an even balance there.
That sounds about right.
How good do you think your team is?
Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, Good luck on all your plays today. Don't forget to check out Scott and I every day on the radio down there in Tampa Bay, WWPR 1490, 4 p.m. Eastern time every single day. Well, Monday through Friday, the ones that count. And for myself, for Scott Reichel, as I said, appreciate you watching. You guys have a great day. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. All right. We'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Bye-bye, everybody.